group number WG16. This video is to demonstrate the working of the RTSP protocol and to understand how the internal server and the client system works in order to stream a video. So first of all, we have the server code, which is present in the server worker.py file. And here in this class, we have certain literals, constant literals that we have initiated. And first of all, the run function is run, which will create a new thread for the receive RTSP request. And what this receive RTSP request method is doing is that it is simply requesting from the client, and after it has received the request, it moves on to processing that request. And from the request that we get from the client, we are able to extract the file name, the media file name that is to be streamed. And we are able to get the sequence number so that we'll know from which sequence number do we have to send the packet back. And also we are able to get the type of request that has been made from the client. For example, it could be a setup request where it is we just have to set up the session, and in the play request we have to continue sending the frames. In the pause request, we have to we will just pause the stream, and in the teardown request we'll close the client to server connection, basically stopping the stream. And once all this has done, in our main part of the function, the play request, it will send RTP request. And in this, we are basically converting our MJPEG file we are basically making it into small packets, and then we are transmitting these packets. So here, after making these packets, we are sending it to the client with this RTP socket. Using this, we can make RTP, and basically this make RTP is a packet of 12 bytes, and where it is storing things like the sequence number, timestamp, the actual data that it is transmitting from server to client, etc. And so after, also this is a reply RTSP method for different, for example, if it is a successful, we'll just give a 200. And if not, then these are the error messages. So this is the code on the server side. Now on the client side, what happens is that obviously we again have some literals which are initialized. And here we have kept the sequence number as 0 initially, frame number or sequence number to be 0. First of all, this create widget function is run on initialization of the client. This is just to basically generate the GUI, which will be used to run, stop, set up, and tear down the video stream. So for example, this is the setup button, play button, pause, tear down, and this is a label to display the various frames together and basically like a video. So after creating the widget, what we'll do is we'll connect to the server. Now, in order to connect to the server, first we'll create a socket, a RTSP socket at the server. And so this is nothing, this is just the address and family address and the socket type. Here the server socket is of the TCP type, and here we are binding a IP address and a port number to the server, and an empty string here means that the server can listen from any of the incoming connections from the various computers. And the listen method will allow a maximum of 5 unaccepted connections in the queue before the server will start refusing the connections. So here we are able to make the server socket, bind it to a particular port number and IP address, and then make the server ready to listen. So in order to connect the client to the server, we'll run this connect to server method, which is run on the client initialization itself. So here we are again creating the client socket, and then we are connecting with the help of this connect function to the listening server. After the initial setup has been made, we'll so now if we click the setup button, it will initiate this setup movie method, in which we are basically sending a RTSP request to the server using this send RTSP request, in which we are creating yet another thread to start to run the receive RTSP reply function. And what it does is that it will use this socket to receive the reply message of the server of up to about 1024 bytes. And here, if the reply is not null, we will decode the UTF-8 format encoded reply message that we have received from the server. And on that, we can say that if the request sent was to tear down, then we can shut down the session. And after we have received the RTSP request, we can just increment our sequence number by 1, and we can check whether the request was to play or to set up, pause, depending on the whatever code that we have received. So if the request code was to play, then we'll send another message to the server to begin sending the frames from the server to client. If it was to pause, then we'll just stop sending the packets. If it was to tear down, then we can just end the session. So here, and that was the part of the setup. On setup, we are able to, depending on different types of request codes we receive, will either pause, play, tear down, etc. And here, this is the client exit command, which will be run when we request the session to be tore down. This is for pause, and this is to play the video, where we have sent the RTSP request with the play code. When the play movie method is run, we will create this thread and we'll start the method listen RTP. The listen RTP method is basically to receive the frames from the server as encoded packets, and then convert them into, again decode them into packets, and once again combine or bring together multiple frames in the form of a video and then display it on the GUI. So basically here we have this RTP socket that we had made on the client side, and it will be used to receive the reply message of the server. And each frame can be maximum of 20,000 bytes. And we are basically receiving a frame each time, and then we are decoding this packet. We are decoding the packet from the UTF format, and then we are incrementing the packet number. And here, if we are receiving a packet number which is smaller than the current packet number, then we are just discarding that packet. So basically, if we have sent the packet 1, 2, 3, And after that, if we have received the packet file, we'll keep the packet file. But after packet file, if we receive the packet 4, we'll discard that packet. And then we have, after we have received the packets, what we'll do is we'll convert the packets into some temporary image files. And then we'll convert these cache image files to proper images, which can be combined to get the full video. So using this command, we'll be able to begin the server and now the client. First, we'll set up the connection, and now we can begin playing. The sequence numbers, as you can see, are being incremented by 1 as we keep on getting frames one by one. There are a total of about 500 frames. And one thing that we can notice is that since we are running this on the local host, the frames are not getting lost. Therefore, we'll actually get all the frames, and the loss rate will actually be 0 if we are running this on the local host. And in between, we could have used this pause, and this teardown will just end the session. If once again we try to run, the pause will pause the video streaming. And again, if we click on play, it will resume. Teardown will just end the session. Okay, so that is it for the demonstration and the explanation of